Hi, Lauren. Thank you so much for coming on to the podcast.
Hello, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure. So I know you are the Senior Vice President and Chief Diversity Officer for Comcast. So tell us a little bit about what you do and your role as a leader there.
Absolutely. So I'm the first Chief Diversity Officer for Comcast Cable. So it's exciting just saying that and being a part of the organization that is focusing so intently on DE&I. So in my role, I lead and partner with all of the strategies really that we implement across Comcast that focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we do that in 4 buckets. First, and most importantly, is in our people, in our culture. Second, on our communities and ways that Comcast can really connect and make an impact within the places where we live and serve and work. With our customers. So specifically a little fantastic program called Comcast RISE and how we can bring our services to the business community and so many more of our customers, not only the business community. And last but certainly not least is our platform. We have an amazing platform and the ability just to show our investments in multicultural programming and just telling stories that sometimes don't have the space to be told.
I agree. One thing about the Comcast RISE program, it really did reach into the heart of communities and neighborhoods. I definitely appreciate it personally, one, being a recipient, but then 2, also realizing that the impact was just so large, and you really can tell that there was intentionality in getting into neighborhoods, people, but also in small businesses. So, tell us a little bit about how much has been awarded in monetary, marketing, and technology grants within that program.
Comcast RISE is one of I always say I don't like to choose favorites, but in a way that we impact small businesses and in our communities, Comcast RISE is absolutely up there. So when you think about this program that started out of a great need for small businesses within local communities in 2020. Since then, we have impacted 13,500 businesses.
Wow. I'm sorry, can you say that number one more time?
Yeah, 13,500 businesses. Yes, very proud number. And $125 million have been invested in those businesses. And to your point, through the grants, through technology investments, marketing, and in 2023, we actually added 2 other components, which were business consultation and an educational track for small businesses.
But one thing I noticed is that, and again, I think the Comcast RISE program came around during the pandemic.
It did.
Okay. And again, the intentionality of services given had to be with technology. You can get a commercial. Like when I saw my hairdresser on a commercial, I said, girl, you made it. And so I was really excited for her, but it also introduced her business to the world of media, which I was trying to get her to for a very long time. So I was very excited for her on that. And then when we received our grant, I also had to think about what services did I really need, not in the immediate, but in the long term. So at the time that I received it, I think I was 6 years in business. And then now we're coming up on 9, right? But what I looked at down the line was the technology. And obviously we need it, right? We are now able to be on a business podcast that is about technology, about growth, about telling that story in various ways to help clients do what they need to do to impact communities. So absolutely love that. And tell me a little about your leadership principles that has contributed to your success.
This is always a wonderful question because I think as a leader, you're always moving so fast. You have to pause and think like, what got me to this seat? And when I reflect on that, first, it's having a strong network. Networking is so important. And when I think back over my career, I think at moments I've taken that for granted. But when you need your network and you tap into it, it really is something that can be beneficial to you personally and professionally. The second thing I would do is that I'm an avid learner. So as a lifelong learner, I always like to stay in touch with what's happening in the world around us, what's happening in my industry, just so that I always can show up to be the best leader supporting the wonderful team that I lead and the fabulous organization that I have the opportunity to work for. And then lastly, I would say you need to know where you want to go and what you want to do. And that's really important to make sure that you're communicating that, but also as a leader that you're focused on your people and that you know where they want to go, what they want to do, and how you can partner with them in achieving their career aspirations and maybe some of their personal aspirations too.
Love that. So tell us a little bit about how diversity, equity, and inclusion has been a key part of Comcast strategy towards employee training, career development, and education.
I have been a part of Comcast for almost 23 years. And I always like to say that because for many organizations, diversity, equity, and inclusion began in 2020.
Right.
And for us, it began for me. It began for many people who came before me at Comcast. It was part of our foundation.
Great.
Our founding father, one of our founding, I would call him fathers, Ralph Roberts, who is the father of our current CEO and chairman, he really felt that DE&I was important because he wanted Comcast to be reflective of the community where he lived and where our locations were serving. So that's always been something that's been baked into how we hire, how we promote, how we think about our education. We really believe in Comcast teammates being lifelong learners. And so one of the things, just a few nuggets would be, in some corporations, you have to have a leader title to get leadership training,
right?
Not at Comcast. Our principle is we all lead, and so access is available to all. We listen like no other organization I can think of. And that's in a variety of different ways. We listen through surveys, through focus groups, through regional visits. It's so wonderful just to go to a place where people are doing their daily, daily grind, but you get to be with them and see them. And it really gives a sense of pride, especially when senior leaders come out and give you their time, right? It's like they're meeting you where you are because they want to see you and they want to show your appreciation for what you're doing. And then the last thing I would say is on an annual basis, we have a wonderful day where we celebrate everything that we're doing in the diversity, equity, and inclusion space, and it's called DE&I Day.
Okay.
And these are great numbers too. Not to, the 13,500 for Comcast RISE is wonderful. But for DE&I Day, we generally have over 40,000 employees tune in to really show an appreciation of the investments we make throughout the year for our employees. We learn together. We always have a learning element to the day. And we then the most important thing and the one thing I love the most is that we have a celebration of the faces across Comcast, the people who are really living out DE&I in everything they do, whether it's with a customer, whether it's on our platform, whether it's with a tool or a new product. It really brings that to life.
So what advice would you give someone looking to become an executive in a large corporation such as Comcast?
I think it goes back to the three things that I mentioned earlier, which is make sure you're investing in your network and do the work. Networking is hard, right? You have to kind of get out of that shyness. Like, what do I say? How do I approach someone? It's really important that you keep feeding it because if you feed your network, it will feed you. The next I would say is make sure you're just continuing to learn and to evolve as the world around you is evolving and learning. We are in a fast-paced society at this point, right? And so we have to be listening to podcasts and reading and doing all the things that make us stay up to speed on all the things that are really important. And I would say, lastly, tell someone what you want to be. Like, tell them your goal so they know it and they're not making assumptions. It's really important that you don't let someone write your story, that you write your story and that you're the author.
I love that. So what advice would you give a business looking to scale up within 3 to 5 years?
I have had the honor to sit in with a number of Comcast RISE recipients. And so my knowledge and my advice is going to come from what I hear from them. So, or what I see too. So first, make sure you're connecting with other businesses. And it goes back to that networking piece, right? Because when I'm in an offsite or I'm at a Comcast RISE event, it's the recipients that are sharing with each other that, did you know to do this? Or to your point, your hairdresser, like she needed to get into the media space. She needed to let people know that she was out there. They're telling each other these nuggets of information that if they had not come together, they would not have known. And I love it that we're creating that space for them to come together and for them to share. And then I would say join the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes.
That is another.
I'm on the board.
Yes.
So I know the value.
Right? But I don't think a lot of small businesses know that.
Correct.
Right? And so it's sharing those pieces. And then really going out and seeking to understand like what you have not done for your small business that you could do to help you scale, to help you thrive, to help you open that next location and take those nuggets and implement them into a business plan.
Well, Loren, it has certainly been a pleasure listening to you really define Comcast as a leader, not only externally, but also internally. And that's very important for small businesses like myself to strive. So thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.